Hi! So I thought I'd show you. This is the new one. Had this now, come yesterday. This has come from a pre-love group. This is, I think, from Lush Wigs. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a lace front wig. And I've done a little bit of pimping up today. I just decided to pop these plaits in for the hell of it. Why the hell not? Just to give it a bit of interest, bit of something different to it. So it's in this gorgeous silver. I keep being told by people that the lighter colours, the platinum blondes, the silver greys, really work for me and my skin tone, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like it. And it's got this gorgeous blue at the end, absolutely gorgeous. So there we are. So this is my little treat to myself. I wanted to get myself a new wig. Bit limited, excuse me. Bit limited on funds. You know, I've just paid a whacking gas and electric bill. So I'm trying to treat myself, but as obviously as cheaply as possible. Finding things that are reduced, things that are on special, things that are on offer, rather than going for something that's much more in the elaborate expenses that we can't afford. Not that I've been like that anyway. I've always sort of shopped on a shoestring budget, bought things from charity shops, you know, things like that. Most of my home is like eBay items, rather than actually having things put together. Sofa that I'm on now is from a charity shop, as are all the majority of my stuff is from charity shops, pre-loved things. I'd happily recycle stuff. It doesn't bother me at all. Anyway, I thought I would get on with doing some more of the Fern Cotton book, the journal, the happy book. Just show you. So we're here now. I did try and do a few videos on this the other day, but unfortunately my head just was not in it, so I had to give it a miss. So here we are. Doodle, what does love look like to you? And then I've put my memories of love and how it made me feel, especially towards the February and Valentine's time. I hate it. It's always brought me bad memories. It's always been a time of, you know, sadness and upset. So this is like what my drawing of basically love, what it means to me. So I've basically got shouting at me, don't be stupid, like you're fat, you're ugly, me always ending up in tears, really upset, broken hearted. I've had my TV smashed up because I treated my son to, as someone who'd learned to wanted to be able to go to the gym. The school was right by a gym, and he wanted to be able to go after school and do some workouts. And I basically inquired about it and I signed up for him to do it. And that particular time, my son was at the gym and I was going to go and pick him up. And my then delightful fella decided that he wanted money for beer, and I said no, you can't have any of my money for beer because it's gone on my son and his gym subscription, as to which my TV then got I didn't know it was my TV at the time. I heard a great big bang and like glass shattered, and I sort of looked in to see what was gone because I had a big massive glass cabinet which actually I've still got. And I looked and that was okay. My fish tank was okay. And I couldn't see what was wrong, what had gone. And I thought, I've got to go. I'm not being late to pick him up. And I just had to go. And I went and picked him up. And we came back. And he was upstairs having a bath. I went to put the TV on. And suddenly I screamed and my son was like, what's the matter? and the TV was completely shattered inside. The screen had gone. I just couldn't believe it. Could not believe it, seeing the sight of this television. I bought this with money from when my gran had passed away. So it meant something to me, the television. And yeah, he smashed it. He didn't care. And then, of course, I had to look on eBay for a TV as cheaply as possible. One that could be fixed, apparently, because he says, oh, it'll be easy for me to fix. And he found one that was near to where we were, and yeah, it was a valve or something that needed replacing, and he did it and it worked. But it was still my money, do you know what I mean? Still taken from me. He smashed the TV up, and he was like, oh, well, there was bits, like it only had so many plugs or something for up to so many items to be used on the television. And I was like, I didn't care, and he was like, oh, this should have had this and it didn't have that, and I didn't care. I said it wasn't yours to smash up. Do you know what I mean? And it was just so, it's like arguing with a small child that just would not listen to what I was saying. And yeah. Anyway, but I ended up having to, it's just funny how things got smashed in the home. It's like, things like broken microwave I had, for example, got smashed because the microwave meal was ready and his food was still not cooked that was in the oven to go with it. So he smashed my microwave door up because it wasn't ready, what was in the oven. I've had all sorts of things broken, doors with, where he's punched through and he's made a hole in. I've had dents in walls. I've had where he's kicked the door through. And then I've had to go and buy stuff to repair the door with out of my money so he could fix it. So, yeah. And then he had to hide the evidence with a bit of paint on it and stuff. Oh, it just went on and on and on. But it was always a consequence for something not being to his way. Broken cups. He'd take money from my purse. And, he never asked whether he could just take it. I mean, there was sometimes money in my purse for a bill to top up the gas and electric, because where we lived, it was, the keys and cards and all that stuff. And he was just reliant on that money being in there, and he used to just come and take it. Beer cans. I've got such a thing for hearing the sound of beer cans opening. It makes me feel sick. I hate it. And then a knife where he threatened to kill me. It's all that sort of stuff. There's just so much. I just find that love is such a bad thing. There's been a couple of nice things that have happened. It's like my second husband before, it's like I'd had an accident with my knee joint coming out, and I was in a full leg cast and everything, and he turned up because we weren't living together at the time, and he travelled down from where he was living in Birmingham to me. He turned up with a dozen red roses and a ring, and he proposed, and it was gorgeous and lovely. And And it was magical, you know, to have that happen. But then his drinking became a huge, huge problem very, very quickly, and I wish I'd known about it and seen all the signs before I walked down the aisle, because I wouldn't have kept hold of him. Trust me, I wouldn't have got married to him, and I wouldn't have kept him. I'd have thrown him out. But there's such a lot that's gone on, and you know, there's a lot of things that I can look back on and think, do you know what? Yeah, that happened. Signs that you don't look for with an alcoholic. And it's only when it's you sort of at your breaking point that you realise what exactly is going on. It's horrible. And I've had so many that I've been through with drink and and they're just horrible and narcissistic and going through all your stuff and nothing's your own. It's all, you know, all your fault. It's never their fault. You know, all that sort of thing. And when you finally do wake up to it, so now it's like, I don't want to be with anybody else. No way. You know, I may struggle, but at least I'm not with him anymore. And for me, this is what I'd rather be, on my own, with somebody that causes me so much stress, so much heartache. Yeah, I don't want it. I'd rather be alone than with that again. Okay, what do you love about yourself? It can be hard to admit that we really enjoy parts of ourselves. Reject the misplaced idea that this is an ego-based exercise or makes you big-headed. It's actually one of the healthiest things you can do. When you're aware of what your strengths are and what parts of yourself you love, others will notice them more vividly too. And I've put, I love that I'm caring, have a big heart. I love that I am very trusting. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I love that I work hard on repairing the bits damaged by abuse, supporting others of domestic abuse in the groups, giving advice where I can. Yeah, it's huge being able to sort of, you know, you have somebody in a group that is either ready to get out or they've got out and they don't know what to do, how to feel, and they think that it is normal, not normal to want to go back or to still love them and everything, and they're like, I need to go back, and I'm like, you can't, you know, you will feel differently. Give yourself time. Trauma bonds is really, really hard to break, and it took me months to realise that actually what I'm feeling now is perfectly normal. I mean, people don't understand it. How can you love somebody that you actually had, you know, that hurt you and forced themselves on you, and they've done this and they've done that? How can you want them back? People don't understand it. And it is hard to explain to people, but you have to sort of give yourself time, because you are grieving obviously over the nicer bits that are fake, and bit by bit you will start to realise that actually what you're missing you don't miss at all. It just takes time to suddenly unpick everything, which is partly why I'm doing this journal, because even though I've been free 3 years, I'm still analysing over everything that I've been through, because these things, you know, you don't walk away from a relationship like that and you just drop all the emotional baggage. You've got to unlearn everything that you've been self-taught all these years, because it's classed as normal. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm only now, 3 years later, putting money in savings jars, I'm able to leave things out and thinking, do you know what? No, no one's going to pinch that. He's not going to come along and take it because he's not here anymore. It takes a lot of analysing everything that you're doing and thinking, do you know what? Don't do that. Do this instead. It's, yeah, I've had for years these jars. I don't know if I've got a jar over there with some money in finally, which is, it's just a great feeling. You know, it's something I can put money in, and so it's like I've got my cleaner's money or my carer's money put to one side. So I, for the first time, can think, do you know what, it's sitting there, and I'm just adding to it, so I'm not struggling for money for when they come over, cleaner. So when they come over to do jobs, then the money's there. And it's only now that I'm starting to do this, leaving the money in those jars. And it's only with the help of writing in this journal, I think, that I'm analysing and thinking, do you know what, I can do this. Let's start doing that. Let's start leaving money in those jars, because after all, it's safe. It's not going to go anywhere. So, yeah, I'm pretty impressed with myself for doing it, to be honest. Because when he was with me, I used to try and save some money, but I'd have to put it in an old sock or something in my drawers, so he wouldn't even notice that that it was there, because it used to be hidden. But that's what I used to do. I used to hide notes in my socks, coins in my socks, or in a pair of tights, or in a charity bag that needed to be with where you put your clothing in. I used to hide things in all sorts of places. I had holiday money stored in a cupboard that he walked past all the time, that had ornaments in, and this was tucked inside a mug at the back of the cupboard with a teddy bear on, and he walked past it every day, and I was so relieved. I still check it every now and again to make sure he hadn't been in it, and it was such a lovely feeling to know that it was still there, because it wouldn't have done if he'd known about it. He'd have just used it. So, right, on to the next bit. The 7th of February, have a day of self-love. Be kind to yourself, let yourself off the hook and treat yourself. So I put self-love day Tuesday and Wednesday, so it's like I give her a couple of days, because Tuesday my cleaning lady was coming over, so it's not really a day of self-care because she'd be here, and I wouldn't be able to get out. So I decided to sort of turn this into a 2-day thing, make the list on the Tuesday, see what I can do on the Wednesday. And anyway, so I wrote new wig, absolutely, definitely. Well, I've got this one, so that's my new wig to me, be it that it was from a pre-love group, it doesn't matter, it's still treating myself. Makeup, replace a few bits, nearly gone, or grab a new lippy. I managed to get an item on sale that was on a special from Spoiled Lips, so that's on its way. Yeah. Watch something on Netflix. I haven't done it, but I just watched the Brits tonight. My first time of watching something properly on the TV in a while. Marks and Spencer's, a new perfume, £5. I'll definitely do that next week. Treat myself to a little bit of spray. They're all vegan and cruelty free, the ones that I've been looking at, and they're amazing and they smell so good. I'll show you when I get it next week. And grab a coffee from Starbucks. I'm gonna have to do that next week. Cause next week. Yeah, do that as well next week. I'm out of cash at the minute. I had to do a very small shop today, nipping out, treating myself to just some, I forget what you call it now. It's just some smellies like to wash with. Got some Astonished stuff which just smells amazing. Okay, so pay off a few things, cancel a few debts. So I've done that with the fridge freezer now. That's officially paid off. Woohoo! And then fab seeing things are zeroed. Have plans to get something else paid off. Go to the patisserie, get a vegan cake. I will get something next week, I think. I'm going to treat myself. I try and do just a little bit each time I get some money in. Just a little something, just to treat me with. Even if it's something like an eyeliner for $2.99 or something. It's still treating myself in some way, shape or form. Okay, so Wednesday the 8th. Look for love around you. When we feel down, it can be tricky to see much love at all, but I promise it'll be there somewhere. There'll be a friend at the end of the phone, a relative with a helping hand, or a neighbour with a mug of tea. Look for it and it'll be there. I've put parents with the endless cups of coffee. My dad gave me a shed loan when I was over there. I was bursting for the loo when I come away. Always there to listen and advise. Yeah. And then I've got friends that are all at the end of the phone to chat to, whether in person or virtually. So I've got my friend Michelle, my friend Pamela, and my friend Tracy. Yeah. We're always chit-chatting on the end of the phone. Whether it's Facebook Messenger or something else, but they're always there. Call someone today that you love. Tell them you love them, even if there's no particular occasion to pin it to. And they think I was definitely drunk. What the what? Okay, so I'll make this the last one, I think, which is Friday the 10th of February. See the good in others. It can be very tricky for us to see the good in those who challenge us, but there'll be some recognition. Recognising this allows us to see people out there fairly. I put the new cleaner that does more than just clean. She changes my bedding, sorts out my washing, has even bought me pillows because my last lot were flattened and looking a bit gunky. Getting used to how she does stuff. She does drive me nuts at times because she rearranges stuff or puts ornaments out that I don't want out of the cupboard. You know, things like that. So how she does stuff has been a challenge in itself. Rearranging things has really at times pissed me right off, I tell you, but I've learned to sort of bite my tongue and not really say a lot, but I will have to say something because I think I'm going crackers when I can't find things. The 11th of February, which is Saturday, recall a moment that was full to the brim of pure love. I love reminiscing about good times that were drenched in love. Happiness floods in. So I put the birth of my son, looking at him, not quite believing he was mine. So beautiful. Oh, it was a great moment. The whole of my pregnancy, I was with the most vile, what I thought was the most vile man. He was a horrible, horrible person to be with. He did everything he could to make me lose my son, basically. He shoved me upstairs. He threw things at me. Oh, it was awful. He was just an absolute bully. he used to love the fact that he worked alongside a younger lad, and he used to love throwing his fists around, and the fact that this lad was scared of him. He was a nice enough lad. And he was, he was really nice, sort of, I just felt sorry for him. But my then fellow that I was with, he revelled in using his fists and scaring this chap. And he used to use his fist quite often with people. He was the proper bastard, really. He used to come back with his fists all bloodied up, and he was just horrible person. I wasn't with him for that long, but it was long enough. I went to all my appointments, all my scans, all my appointments on my own. He never come with me. And then when it came to getting the baby out, I went into labour, and he threatened to dump me on the side of the motorway because he didn't know where he was going for the hospital, because he never did a practice run. He was like, oh, I'll find it on the day, whenever it is. And of course he couldn't find it, and yeah, he threatened to dump me on the side of the road with my cases. And then, yeah, he got me to the hospital, and I went to the bathroom, and when I come back, he'd gone. He'd left me a note saying, that I'm going home for some sleep. And all the way through labour, I had the midwife asking me, do you want me to tell the dad that the baby's coming now? And I was like, no. No, I wanted to be on my own. I didn't want to give birth with him now. I didn't want him taking over and making me feel uncomfortable at a time that should be joyous and exciting. And, when I used to go for maternity scans, and I'd look round the outside the waiting area, and there'd be couples all sitting together, all clocking over the bump and all excited, and he was just vile. He just left me to it. My mum wanted to come and attend, but she had severe cellulitis and she couldn't travel. It was just evil what he was like. He didn't care. I remember when he took me to the hospital, and he parked the car in the car park, and he was racing off, and there was me in labour, and he virtually left me in the car park, waddling along whilst he was gone to the desk, and I'm pretending to be all concerned. "You're right, love." And I used to think, don't call me love. But yeah, he soon dumped me. He left me a scaggy note telling me to message him, to call him when to come. And yeah, when they sort of moved me from area to area, and then they said to me, do you want us to call the father? I was like, no. And then, of course, when baby was born, he was all the doting dad on the ward and phoning me to check I was okay. And I thought, this is just too good to be true, because it's not going to last. And as soon as we got home, 'cause Mum and Dad picked me up, and like my little boy, they got us some bits in and dropped us off, and we were home. And he was all, oh, lovely. But even being nice didn't last 5 minutes. You know, having the baby there was something, you could use something physical to use. You know, he wanted me to put the baby down and get out the house, and I thought, no, no, you're not taking my son, you're having nothing, you know. You know, my health visitor could see I was getting postnatal depression because I was getting so stressed out. I mean, I had the biggest pile of washing you'd ever see in your life, on my chairs, on my sofa. Yeah, he didn't give a shit. The one time he took my son upstairs to bother with him. He says, oh, you can have a bit of time to have something to eat and watch a bit of telly. He took him upstairs and he was screaming. He didn't know this man, and all he wanted was me, so we soon brought him back down to me. And it didn't last very long. My son didn't know him. It was the weirdest bit about it. He didn't know this man, this strange person, because he never got to know my son. And there was no interest ever. So I was very relieved when actually, in some ways, when we split up, he sent me a text message saying that it was finished and that he was going to pick up his stuff and go. And I remember giving my mum and dad all these things that were like my valuables. They weren't valuable as in like expensive or anything, but giving mum and dad things to take back to theirs because I was worried that he was going to pinch them. So that's what I did. And he took his stuff. I put a few things in his box of belongings. That's all he had, like a skaggy suitcase of clothes and some bits and pieces, and that was it. I think he'd already moved on to his next woman to use and abuse. Probably got a ton of kids all over the place. Probably has. So, yeah. But for me, the relief was actually, at first when he sent me the message, I was terrified. And I think it was the fear of being on my own, which is what I've had with every relationship that's fallen on the wayside with an abuser, is I'm scared of being on my own. And it's like, here we go again and again. And then slowly things, it's taken to the last one to realise actually I'd rather be on my own than with somebody that I don't want to be with because they are abusive and controlling and manipulative, and yeah, it's just not worth it. I might not be left with anything valuable, but at least I've got my son, and I'd rather have him than a pile of money any day. So it is hard, but I'm taking things one step at a time. So, but anyway, so yeah, I've treated myself to a couple of little things here and there along the way. Done things on a budget, and I'm hoping to soon enough be able to have a few more things paid off and feel a relief, Yeah. I just want to see these debts gone. I know these debts have become because I've had no money. and if I didn't have these items to pay off, maybe the overdraft would be sorted out. But moving home was something I needed to do. I needed a fresh start. I needed to get away from that house. I needed to get away from the fact that he knew where I was, my last one, and the fact that I got this chance to start over again somewhere else, that he doesn't have a clue where I am. And it's wonderful. And I've really, really loved the fact that I'm here. Now I'm just waiting on changes to happen to the home that we are in. Fingers crossed. The next stage of the adaptation should happen fairly soon. So exciting. Right. As soon as I get some news, I shall let you know. Right. I'm going to go because I want to sort a few things out and I'm getting tired. So catch you later, guys.